Hello, you get to see my ugly mug this time. Because I am relatively new to this whole world of YouTube and recording and things like that, occasionally things don't go according to plan. Today I was hoping to upload a wonderful infrastructure video. However, that didn't work. It was dull as dishwater, and I would never inflict that upon you. Even I got bored with it, to be perfectly honest with you. So I might put up a few pictures later on of what I've been doing. So what I thought I would do today is to go through some questions that people have asked me in the past. This is something that I normally field in a kind of a demonstration feedback, or during the demonstrations that I do. Yeah, so here we go. First question. These are all actual questions that I've been asked. So, how long does it take to become a leather worker? Well, I would say the second you start working on a piece of leather, you're becoming a leather worker. If you've ever altered a piece of leather clothing or a bag or anything like that to become something else, or to make it larger or smaller to fit you, then you've been leatherworking. So you've probably done more than you think you have. How did you get started in leatherworking? I'm going to try and do this all in one take, so it might be a little bit stop-start. So yeah, how did you get started in leatherworking? Well, I was a very young 17-year-old, and I joined a reenactment group. It was a group called the Knights Templar up in the northeast, run by a wonderful pair of reprobates. And I couldn't afford any armour, so I thought I'd make it myself. And I did. And it wasn't brilliant. In fact, it was pretty crap, to be perfectly honest with you. But it was good enough for what I needed it for at that point. And then I started looking at getting old bags and things like that, belts and stuff, and adapting them. Just kind of repurposing before the whole kind of repurposing movement started, really. And then people started saying, well, that's really nice what you've done there, and can I have something like that? And it kind of snowballed from there. So yeah, that's how I got started. How difficult is it to become a leather worker? Not difficult at all. Get a piece of leather, start chopping it about, have an idea in mind of what you want to make from it, and go for it. You're a leather worker. It's not that difficult at all. However, the next question, what tools do I need, will take a little bit of explaining. I first started out with a craft knife, one of those clicky craft knives, the sort that I still use, a hammer, a nail, and a piece of board. And that was it. Oh, and a pair of scissors. From there, in the 30 odd years that I've been doing it now, I've now managed to amass toolboxes full of tools. Some I bought specifically for one job and never used again. Some I use on a daily basis. However, the tools that I would suggest that you start with are a good quality knife, a good quality craft knife, something that you can kind of replace the blades in, because you don't want to go down the whole kind of sharpening route right from the word go, unless you are a whiz at sharpening, and I'm not. I never have been. I'm okay at it, but you know, that's as maybe. So 1, a good craft knife. 2, a decent metal square, preferably a flat one. I get mine from Amazon of all places, and I think they're about £5. Just an L shape. I think it's 24 by 30 centimeters, which equates to 12 by 10 or something like that, 12 by 8 maybe. And yeah, they're absolutely fabulous. I don't know where I would be without one, to be perfectly honest with you. It's something that I use on a daily basis, multiple times. What else? I would suggest that you invest in a decent hole punch. Now, a friend of mine asked me to buy him one of the hole punches that I use now from my supplier in, well, it's overseas. Let's just leave it at that. And I bought him one, and when he received it, the first thing he said to me was, "It's a lot heavier than the ones that I normally make, the ones that I normally use." And that's right. That's absolutely right. The thing is that if you want something to last, if you're wanting to use something for years and years to come, it needs to be well made. You can get hole punches from the pound shop. They are fine for what they are. They'll last probably a few uses, you know. But if you get something that you can replace the bits on, you can replace the hardware on, so the anvil can come off, the cutting heads can be interchanged, and something that's well made, that'll last you a lifetime. And I've been a very no, I would say that it's something that I always try and expound in the workshops that I do and the demonstrations that I do, that while I've got the singing and dancing tools, they just make my life easier. If you can't afford them, don't worry about it. It's absolutely fine. You use what you can afford to use. Next question. Oh, did I finish on the tools? No, I didn't actually. No. Tools that you need. So a craft knife, a straight edge, and a hole punch. I would invest as well in some decent stitching chisels. Again, your mileage may vary. You can get them off at AliExpress, dirt cheap. But if you're going to do any kind of stitching and you want it to look even halfway decent, stitching chisels are probably the way to go. Aside from that, you've probably got virtually all of the tools that you need already. You've probably got cutting boards. I use a specific board called a Poundo board now that I've literally just bought, and it's completely changed the way that I cut things. Obviously you don't need that just yet, just a standard piece of wood would be fine. You don't want to be cutting into your parents' £2,000 or $2,000 dining table, do you? So a decent cutting board or a cutting mat, one that heals itself, is probably a good idea. You'll need to replace it from time to time, but that's a given. So yeah, that's 4 things. So yeah, something to cut, something to... Oh, and a hammer. Yeah. You can get setting tools for rivets and things like that, or for press studs, as and when you need them. But a hammer is something that you'll always need, and something that you'll always have, because you buy a hammer, it's probably going to be with you for life. I use just a standard claw hammer when I need to use one, because that's what I've got to hand. I've got kind of paneling tools and paneling hammers and planishing hammers, things like that, and they just sit in a box. I don't use them. I always keep going back to the one tool that I virtually started with. So there we go. 5 tools, the 5 tools you need. What's your most favorite? Not great English here, but I think the person who asked this, English wasn't his first language. But what's your most favorite build ever? It's difficult because I love everything that I make. That's one of the really nice things about my job, that I pour my heart and soul into everything that I make. If I was gun to the head, I would have to say there was a museum piece that I made. Well, it wasn't a museum piece, it was for an exhibition at the National Space Centre a few years ago now. And it was a mixed media piece that I made. It was a full outfit, and I used canvas, I used leather, I used brass, I used all sorts of things. I used glass to create this outfit for this exhibition. I'll put some pictures up of it while I'm talking about it now. And yeah, that really came out exactly the way that I envisaged it in my mind. I'm a very I don't draw things out. I don't kind of make sketches of things. I have an idea in my mind and I make that idea, if you see what I mean. I tend not to kind of draw things out and work them out that way. I work them out in 3 dimensions. Yeah, but yeah, that it was an Ethernaut that I created, an Ethernaut uniform. But yeah, hopefully you'll be seeing pictures of the costume, of the outfit, while I've been waffling on about it. So, next question. When it became your job, did it lose some of the excitement? Not as such, no. I realised that I didn't have the the cushion to fall back on of a regular wage. But no, I never really thought of it as something that I lost excitement for. I would never lose excitement for the work that I do. Every day is a different challenge, rather than kind of schlepping into work and sitting at a desk and sending emails and working on lecture notes and curriculum development and things like that, which I had to do in my previous job. Yeah, everything's different, and every day is different, and I love that. Going down to the workshop, even if I don't have any orders in, I'll go down to the workshop and I'll potter about. I'll do bits and pieces. I might make a new thing that I've been thinking about. I'm constantly researching and playing with loads of ideas. I mean, the majority of them never see the light of day because, for the most part, I don't have the skills to be able to complete them, and they get put onto a shelf, and I have to develop the skills to be able to complete them. Saying that, that's actually a very interesting point. Not one of the questions, I don't think, but learning is something that I still do every day. I'm still learning 30 years later, different techniques, different ways of doing things. I'm completely self-taught. So the way that I do stuff is the way that it works for me. It may not be the right way, but it works for me. And that's something that I try and instill in my students when I'm doing workshops, that it doesn't really matter if it's a bizarre way of working. If it works for you, then it works. That's the way that you do it. So, yeah, a little bit of wisdom there. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's a very interviewery type question. Where do I see myself in 5 years? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going from day to day. I can't even remember what I had for lunch. But there we go. I hope that I'm going to be just as happy as I am now. And I think that's all we can all hope for. To be as happy as you are at your happiest in 5 years. Do you have any big ideas in the pipeline? I do, to a certain extent. I do plan on doing more events. I do plan on diversifying a little bit. I've just managed to secure a 3D printer from quite an old friend who I tend to see maybe once or twice a year, even though he is such an old friend. Big shout out to Ian. Thank you, Mr. Crichton. Yeah, so I've just got a new 3D printer that I need to learn how to use. And from that, hopefully, I'll be able to make my own stamps. I'll be able to make tools for you guys as well. That's something that I want to start doing. I want to start selling molds for leatherworking. Part of the reason that I bought a CNC machine was that I could do wooden molds for bags and stuff. And that's something that's in the pipeline. That's something that I want to start doing. I just need to create the digital files for them. And that means just setting aside a couple of weeks, maybe even up to a month, of just completely learning how to use the software and honing it to a kind of a sharp point, if you know what I mean. But yeah, lots of things in the pipeline. Some of them I don't want to talk about just yet, but yeah, that's the stuff that I will talk about. What would you liken? Who would you liken yourself to in the business world? Another interviewery type question. Who would I liken myself to in the business world? I don't know. Weird Al Yankovic. He went his own way and did his own thing, but always quite humbly, I think. I know it sounds a bit strange and a bit wanky, but I don't see myself as a businessman. I see myself primarily as a crafter, as a craftsperson, and I would hope that other people see me that way too. That I want to help people rather than helping myself. And to me, business is just a means to an end. I do it to put food on the table. I do it to insure my car. I do it to continue the existence that I've become accustomed to. But we can all change. Yeah, last one. Why do you wear so many hats? Well, I wear hats because I'm insecure. I'm losing my hair. And I've got so many hats because people keep giving them to me. I love this one. This is great. This is one that I wear for post-apocalyptic. I think it's an M32 helmet or replica, an airsoft replica. It was given to me by a very good friend, and yeah, I tend not to wear it very often, but I saw it this morning and I thought, yeah, you've got these questions coming up. You could wear that. That'd be a funny thing just to wear and not mention for the majority of the video. It was either that or this one. And I love this one for very different reasons. This one was knitted by, again, a very good friend, and this is one of my cold weather hats, and I'll wear this in the workshop. I'll take this everywhere with me. It goes in my bag. It just gets slung in my bag, and if it's cold and wet outside, I'll just sling it on. It doesn't go with anything, but that's the point. It doesn't go with anything, so it goes with everything. So, those are some questions that I've been asked in the past. If you've got any other questions, please put them down below. I will always answer them. If you like what I do, if you like what you've seen, please subscribe. It helps me out, and it doesn't do you any, it doesn't screw up your day. You'll get notifications if you click the notifications bell of when I upload a new video. Oh, and please do like the video too. So until next week, I'll see you. Love you all. Bye bye.